Hey, everybody, it's Jeff Hansen. BYU just, I, I, I'm speechless. George Costanza said it best. I am without speech. The Cougars, they come back, miraculous fashion. Minute 13 seconds left. They're down 35-31. They need a big score, and Jake Retzlaff delivers for BYU. What an unbelievable finish to that game. It was back and forth. There's so much to dig into. There's a lot of negative that we could talk about, but we're going to focus first and foremost. BYU just won in a game that, with a minute and 13 seconds left on the clock, I didn't think they could win. I didn't think they were coming back. With 40 seconds left on the clock, about 46 seconds left, when BYU's in a fourth down and medium situation, I didn't think they were going to win. With 19 seconds left on the clock and still needing 35 yards to get into the end zone, I still didn't really think BYU was going to win. Lo and behold, Retzlaff finds Darius Lassiter, who makes a move, gets into the end zone, and BYU stays undefeated, 7-0 after a 38-35 win over Oklahoma State. Unreal. I mean, it's midnight. It's after midnight. It's the middle of the night. I've got family asleep at my house. That was unreal. I'm not going to sleep for hours, so how could I not come and do another instant reaction video on this game? Holy cow. Just that's the kind of win that you have to have if you're going to really truly have a special season. And I'm running out of things to say. You know, that feels like a special season kind of win. It was a clunker. Let's get into some details as I try to piece together some thoughts here. Every good team is going to have clunkers along the way. Not every game's a blowout. Not every game is that incredible game against Kansas State. Not every game is that game against Arizona a week ago. You're not going to have your A game every single time you play, and BYU did not have their A game tonight. The defense was particularly porous throughout the night. They gave up 200, looking at a box score here, 276 total rushing yards. I mean, come on. I mean, it wasn't good. Ollie Gordon, I think he averaged, let me pull up box scores and I could tell you exactly what he averaged. Ollie Gordon on the night, he averaged 6.7 yards per carry. The team, Oklahoma State, averaged 7.3 yards per carry. It was a bad night for the defense, and we could talk about that throughout the week. But BYU still found a way to win anyways. The offense, Hinkley Ropati, trick play, trying to get cute, and that's who BYU is. They try to show those trick plays, and it's more than the trick play trying to make it work. They like to show those things on film because it keeps defenses maybe a step or two more honest because they always have to worry about that trick play. Hinkley Ropati throws an ill-advised throw, goes for an interception. Jake Retzlaff tacks on 2 interceptions of his own. It wasn't good. BYU did not have their A game, but they won anyways. And when you can win your clunkers, then you got to feel pretty good about when you have your A game. So that's good. That's obviously the good news. BYU won, and that's a win with grit. That's a win with determination, with teamwork. That was awesome. Now, the other thing that was, and this is important to call out, because even with those turnovers from the offense, this was a game that I don't think most BYU fans, myself included, thought we would get to see much of this year. This was a game where the offense put the team on their back and said, okay, defense, we got you. Remember week 2, it was SMU, and it was the offense that was just struggling. They couldn't go anywhere all night long, and the defense had to put the team on their back in that game and win that game, and it was an 18-15 game on the road against SMU. Tonight, it was Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State was getting whatever they wanted offensively, regardless of who was at quarterback. Unless there was a turnover, Oklahoma State did pretty well whatever they wanted to do with the ball. The offense said, hey, defense, you've had us several times this year. We've got you now. Get on our back this time. And the offense went out and scores 38 points. Tanner Wall had a big interception, nearly a pick six that set up a short field, but the offense put up 31 points against a Big 12 defense, albeit Oklahoma State's not a great team, not a great defense, but that was 31 offensive points that they had to earn every single yard of, and that was a come from behind last-minute drive. The offense did things that I don't think most of us thought the offense could do coming into the season. It wasn't a perfect game plan for A-Rod. It wasn't a perfect execution game for Jake Retzlaff, but the offense still did their job and found a way to win. And when this team needed them in the biggest moment of the game, Jake Retzlaff delivered. You know, you go back over like Tom Brady's career. He's the greatest. No, Jake Retzlaff's not Tom Brady. Don't get carried away, folks. But Tom Brady, what made him so magical was in those final minutes of the game. Whenever he got the ball and it was a one-score game and he had less than 2 minutes to go, you felt like Tom Brady was going to score. That's 2 games now that Jake Retzlaff has done exactly that for BYU. It was a 15-15 game when Retzlaff had to march down the field and score against SMU. He did that, and it was a deficit, a 35-31 game tonight where he did that again. That's twice in a year. That's something special that we've got to give Jake Retzlaff, this offense, a ton of credit for. Darius Lassiter, holy cow. What more can you say about Darius Lassiter? Looking at box scores, I believe he had 6 catches. Yeah, 6 catches, 129 yards, that game-winning score. Keelan Marion had 2 for 56. That was a big game for him. He had a couple of really big catches. Chase Roberts, whenever you got to move the chains, Chase Roberts is the guy. LJ Martin finally had his game. It feels like that was his breakout game where he was the clear running back one. He got the lion's share of the carries. LJ Martin was fantastic. He had 2 touchdowns, 120 yards on 2 carries. And then Retzlaff, when you look at Jake Retzlaff's line, it was a lot better than I thought it was in the heat of the game. 13 of 26 isn't great. 13 of 26, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He adds a touchdown and 81 yards on the ground. I mean, that's a really good game from Jake Retzlaff. You take away those turnovers, that's a phenomenal game. And we're talking about how great he played. Jake Retzlaff, oh man, I mean, that's a game that makes you feel good. Look, Oklahoma State is not the team that maybe they thought they were coming into the season, but this was always going to be a tough draw for BYU. BYU has to prepare for 3 different quarterbacks on a short week. Oklahoma State's coming off a bye. Mike Gundy, like him or hate him, he's been doing this for a really long time. He's an innovative dude. This was a tough preparation. This was a tough game for BYU, kind of a tough draw. Yes, it's at home, all that good stuff, but this was going to be tough for BYU. And they came out, they didn't play well, and they found a way to rally together and grit out a win. Kalani Sitake deserves a ton of credit for this one. This is a culture win. The leadership of this team deserves a ton of credit for this game. This is a culture type of a win where you just refuse to lose. Nobody played super well. Darius Lassiter played really well. LJ Martin played really well. But, I mean, collectively, no one position group or one side of the ball played a phenomenal game. They both have a ton of things to work on before they take the field against UCF in a week. But this team's culture, they believe, they fight every single minute of the game. That's huge. I'm pumped about this win. There's going to be a ton of stuff to dig into throughout the week because there's a lot of stuff that's going to show up on tape that BYU's got to fix if they're going to continue this magical run. But right now, BYU 7-0. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Maybe they continue to climb up in the polls. Win your clunkers. Works in basketball, works in football too. This was a ton of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the game as much as I did. Oklahoma State fans, I'm sorry. Ollie Gordon looked like Ollie Gordon again, though, so that's got to feel good. He's got 8 touchdowns against BYU in his 2 games against the Cougars. I'm going to be dreaming about Ollie Gordon for years to come. I mean, he's absolutely dominated BYU when he's been healthy and on the field. All in all, great game. Really a ton of fun. A lot of fun this year. A lot of excitement to come. And that game against UCF, it's felt like maybe the most difficult game on the schedule. Cross-country travel, really tough team. They run the football. They're going to see this game against Oklahoma State and say, hey, we can run the football. It's a big week of practice coming up for Jay Hill and that defense. But let's enjoy the win for tonight, BYU fans. Thanks for joining. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Till next time, give them hell. Go Cougs.